Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to join us this afternoon. This is our 9th webinar when we look at the challenges that modern marketing and selling face and how to win against competition in today's noisy, complex selling environment. The presentation today will last for about 45 minutes and we'll have time at the end for questions and answers, so please post them to the questions box. So today we're going to look at the critical importance of aligning sales and marketing to optimize conversion and growth. And I would like to welcome Dan Gad from one of the leading mid-market marketing automation platforms and currently the fastest growing MA platform around the world called ClickDimensions. So why ClickDimensions? Well, they are unique as a technology solution because their platform enables the management of a fully integrated marketing and sales demand funnel. They're the only solution that has all of the marketing automation and CRM functionality that you need built off a single database inside a single application. So the agenda. Today we're going to look at, we're going to explore what's needed. I just got the slide yet. What's needed to build modern marketing and sales capabilities. We're going to demonstrate how to transform a bad funnel into a good funnel and how to align sales and marketing to optimize conversion growth in the arena of today's self-educating, self-directing buyer. I'm going to touch on the fundamental change in B2B sales and marketing and the opportunities that creates for both departments. I'm going to talk about marketing's today's most critical job around lead transformation, top-line growth, improving ROI, and being able to predictably forecast pipeline. I'm going to look at the change to engagement marketing from mass transactional marketing, and we're going to talk about how you can engage buyers throughout the buyer lifecycle in multiple channels in an easy, scalable way with personal and relevant communications. Dan is going to look at how to understand how your customers really buy in the complex journeys B2B purchasing decisions they trace. He's going to look at why and where traditional sales processes are failing, and he's going to look at the reason behind the disconnect in the sales and marketing. So just to quickly touch on our McRae&Co's experiences based on a decade's worth of work with a wide range of B2B companies, many of them the UK's fastest growing, from startup to emerging growth to mid-market. They're all household names in their sector, category leaders and thought leaders, but you're not likely to have heard of them unless you compete in that industry sector. So how do you win in today's complex, noisy selling environment? We now live in an always-on, digitally connected world where the path that the customer's buying journey takes is no longer linear. It becomes what Eric Jochmeister calls the flight of the Bumblebee in his excellent book, Brand Leadership, The Next Revolution in Building Strong Brands. Information abundance has led to attentionomics, which is the battle for buyer mindshare, which used to be a B2B, B2C term, but it's now relevant in B2C. And so that whole shift in terms of what's happening in B2B is often called B2B consumerization as we battle for buyer mindshare. Mobile and social media means that customer buying journeys are increasingly made up of self-directed and erratic micro moments. Buyers search for product information, credentials, recommendations anytime they have a spare moment, often on the move. So this represents a fundamental shift from push to pull marketing, from mass transactional to engagement marketing. Digital is now at the core of everything that marketing does today. It's gone from being one of the things that marketing does to the thing that marketing does. And this has profound ramifications for the business of marketing. So what's changing in modern marketing and selling? Well, so with this increasingly kind of flight of the Bumblebee, the B2B buying journey is increasingly self-educated and self-directed. And that's driven by the abundance, quality, and availability of information that is now quickly and easily accessible via the internet and across multiple channels. Buyers can get the majority of the information that they need to progress most of the way through the buying cycle. And all you need to do if you want to bring this back to home is think about how you personally would go about finding, learning, considering your options for buying a car. So it's an increasingly complex buying process, and that challenges the long-standing practices of many sales and marketing teams and their processes. Business.com in 2015 recently quoted that today's reality is no longer sales and marketing, it's marketing and sales. So how can you come out on top against competition? Well, in the past 5 years, the average sales cycle has become 22% longer. There's typically 3 additional decision makers involved, and as much as 70% of buying decisions have now been taken prior to sales engagement. That's forecast to go north of 80% across the next few years. So marketing is now responsible for the majority of the buying cycle, not only in terms of that initial awareness and interest, but now in the much deeper engagement, to help buyers progress through their education and consideration phases. But most importantly, marketing's got to be able to identify buyers that are ready for sales conversations, so the ones that are win ready ahead of competition, and focus their sales effort on those. One of our key beliefs is that if the buyer wants to self-educate and self-direct, then let them, but lead the conversation, so that when they have, bands, buyer authority, budget authority, need and time, and they're ready to engage and have a conversation, then make sure that when they're going into that you're the preferred supplier, you're number one out of the 3 that they want to talk to. So how is it that you do that? So for your target markets, you can use route 1, which is traditional marketing, or route 2, which is inbound marketing. But our approach, we tend to major on a third route, which is what we call through the funnel marketing. So you build out the database, a high quality database for your total addressable market. That's D. You understand the content that the buyers need at each stage of the buying cycle, and that can be, by buying stage, and so awareness, education, consideration, and decision, and also by buyer persona, and that's C. And then you look to engage and nurture them with targeted and relevant lead nurturing campaigns specific to each of those buyer personas and the lead stage. That's LN, lead nurturing. You use, complex lead scoring models to identify the prospects that are ready for a sales conversation. That's lead scoring, and then you manage them to sales, and you manage the leads through this entire demand funnel to ensure that none of the leads are lost, and identify where you've got the metrics so you can identify where to improve. So that's lead management. But absolutely critical in this is the ability to zero in on sales ready prospects. And you cannot do that without a marketing automation platform, without technology. You need technology to be able to do that. So, but absolutely fundamental in all of this is the ability to track, the ability to be able to track the metrics of progression through the demand funnel, so that you can study and you can analyze that, and then you can look to improve at each stage. And the ability, the big business win of being able to improve at each stage is the difference between being average and being best practice. And that's a factor of about 5 times more business, winning 5 times more deals. So to do that, you need to identify, each of your demand funnel stages and who owns them. You need to map every funnel stage to the lead status and who the owner is and what the SLA outcomes are. And that's mainly the transition between marketing and lead development, or early inside sales, or sales managers, etc., and then handling to sales through the sales process. So marketing automation is an essential tool to do this properly. You can't do it without it. It's often called the nuts and bolts of scaling your business. And a lot of people are not, marketing automation is a little bit of a misnomer. Everybody thinks it's about automating marketing, but really it does a bit of that. Well, it does a lot of that, but it's really about sales. It's really about, giving you the ability to identify who are the prospects that are win ready, and focus your expensive sales resources on those. In our experience, even the smallest companies can generate real, measurable ROI from marketing automation. And a lot of the companies that we work with are very, very small and high growth. However, there are some specific factors that make certain companies better candidates than others, such as, the number of leads, the average deal size, and the amount of resources that you've got to deploy within a marketing automation. The biggest difference between your basic, kind of mass send email service providers like, MailChimp or ExactTarget or Campaign Monitor, and today's modern marketing automation technology is the ability to design and deploy automated, triggered, multi-step campaigns. So if shorter sales cycles, better for qualified leads, higher sales productivities would all make a tangible difference to your bottom and the bottom line, then it's worth looking closely at marketing automation. Here is a an example kind of end-to-end pipeline for one of our clients, and you can track, so you can see how the database builds up, you can track how the engagement builds up in terms of scores of prospects, but most importantly, you can track the demand funnel in terms of prospects that are active to those that move forward to marketing qualified lead, to sales accepted leads, to sales qualified suspect sponsors, power sponsors, and a decision due. And in 5 months, we were able to, have won £55,000 of business and built a pipeline of almost $500,000 in 5 months. So what is the marketing organization of the future like? So, companies are investing millions in new marketing tools to keep pace with customers in the digital age, but maximizing the returns on those investments often outdated. It's held back by outdated marketing structures and approaches. Traditional kind of structures and processes between marketing and sales means that they both live in separate silos, and they remain in ignorant bliss of what the others are doing. There's no communication, and there's guaranteed needless duplication and crosstalk, and that jeopardizes, potentially customer relationship, and it wastes resources. But targets are, buyers are moving quickly today. So the most forward-looking organizations are building fluid and nimble structures to help them seize the opportunities and keep the pace of change, and to achieve the speed and the dexterity that they need to follow the flight of the Bumblebee. So one of the key things to think about is how do you abandon the silos that you have and create more nimble and fluid structures, and how do you lead the customer charge across the enterprise, because that's what marketing has more knowledge about the customer than anyone else. So every week we drive high quality marketing originated and well qualified, win ready, sales leads to our sales directors and CEOs that we work with, and we transform the size and quality and scalability of their sales pipeline. And it's been repeatedly told to us it's the most effective investment in their marketing dollars. You can find out specifically how we do it. With all the content, there's a couple of ebooks on our site. There's lots there to have a look at. And if I'm more than happy to jump on a quick call if anything that we said is interesting and give you some more detail. But what we'd like to do now is look at specifically how to align sales and marketing to optimize conversion growth in this today's era of the modern micro moment, erratic kind of sales buyer journey, and how you transform a bad funnel into a good funnel. So to do that, I'd now like to introduce you to Dan Gad from ClickDimensions, who looks after the UK and Ireland.
As Scott said at the beginning, if you do have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat box, and we'll address them as we get to the end of the presentation. So in a traditional sense, the sales and marketing, as Scott said, have been divided in the business space. So it's been two different departments, very little communication. The marketing team would send out their advertisements via email blasts, create forms, some way to drive the potential prospect to the website. That being said, if the marketing team and the sales team aren't communicating, these marketing tactics really aren't being as effective as they could be. Without that marketing, essentially the sales team's blindly calling people, hoping that they hit them with the right person and the right interest. So this leads to that question of, if the marketing efforts are such an integral part of the sales cycle, why is the sales system not synced with the marketing? So this illustration here just kind of gives you an example of that email marketing piece may or may not be connected to CRM or that sales cycle. However, these other marketing efforts, such as surveys, forums, web tracking, really things that are going to drive people to the website and qualify those leads and nurture those leads. If this email marketing piece isn't connected, most likely these other features aren't connected either. So if they're not connected, they're not communicating with each other, and you're not having this one cohesive group working together to get that full 360-degree view of how effective, say, that lead's coming in and opportunity closing. And so, just kind of going off that a little further, as I'm sure as many of you heard with these statistics, the buyers are now more educated, themselves prior to reaching to the vendor. Buyers say 90% of the way through their purchase process before they reach out. For those leads that are captured prior to that 90%, 50% of those leads are not ready for an immediate purchase. And those companies who sell with lead nurturing generate 50% more sales ready leads at a 30% lower cost. So this kind of brings me to ClickDimensions and how we can assist in communicating the proper information to the sales team and allow them to nurture these leads. So just kind of give you an idea, and this is a screenshot of ClickDimensions. I'm actually going to be popping out back and forth between the PowerPoint and my production environment. So this is what it looks like to be native inside of ClickDimensions. So if I just pop out here real quick, just do the same quick tour here for you. We hit this drop-down tab. You have ClickDimensions right inside. And you have your email marketing piece, your subscription management, your web tracking, forms and surveys, your forms, survey, and landing page builder area, bulk text messaging, and event management. So the nice part about this is with ClickDimensions, it's one license for the entire organization. So if you have access to CRM, you can allow that sales team and marketing team to both have access to this information that's coming in. So if we back out of this and go back into the PowerPoint here, on the current slide, there we go. What we can see, and this diagram kind of illustrates here, is that ClickDimensions is going to work as one cohesive group with CRM. So the beauty of ClickDimensions is you're going to have all these features under one umbrella hosted onto CRM. So each license of ClickDimensions is hosted onto the CRM. So just using email as an example, if that marketing team sends out that email, it's not going to go through your Exchange server, so it's not going to just communicate information to one person. Rather, it's going to go through ClickDimensions in conjunction with Azure and Message Gears. So we're going to send that out in real time, bring back that information of opens, clicks, bounces, unsubscribes, etc. Immediately push it back into your CRM. So the beauty of it is ClickDimensions is built inside of Azure. We don't have a data storage, so it's immediately pushed into CRM where it's your data now. So either the marketer or any sales team member that has access to it can access this information. They can say, okay, John Doe here received this email. Well, he opened it 3 times. He clicked on this link and he went to this particular web page. So let's drive this conversation that way, or let's drive the email marketing that way. It really gives you that full, again, 360-degree view of how it's going to look. If we take a quick look here, this is a complete rundown of our feature set. So we have our email marketing, nurture marketing, forms, surveys, web tracking, lead scoring, really all the functionality here to drive people to the website, bring in new leads, and nurture them and see how effectively you're nurturing them. With ClickDimensions, we do have a quarterly update. So every quarter we do have an update, whether it's to enhance a feature or come out with a new feature altogether. What I'm actually going to be showing you today is the new update for our nurture marketing. It's going to be a campaign builder, so you're really going to be able to dynamically send out emails automatically and trigger different email series to go out based upon different interactions and see the full path of people coming through in that full complete nurture set. So kind of from that, what I'd like to transition to, before we transition to those good funnels and bad funnels, I'm actually going to hop back into my production environment, and I really do want to give you a real live example of how best practice here. So prior to me coming into this role of working with UK and Ireland, I was a SDR, sales development representative. Basically what I was doing was I was using our marketing efforts along with our sales tactics to nurture people and cold call them, or we should say warm call them, because at this point they're warm when I was giving them a call, to really see if they're ready for a demonstration. So if I actually pull up one of my older dashboards here, so what the nice thing about ClickDimensions is that we're inside of CRM, you're actually able to utilize CRM functionality with ClickDimensions at the same time. So what I would do here is I would actually do a SDR dashboard. So what we set up was we would send an initial email out, and by doing that initial email, what we would do is if we go into my contact record here, we would do a quick send. So the quick send is a one-off email send. It's a feature that we've added to ClickDimensions, whereas you can send an email template that you've created and see how they've interacted with it. So opens, clicks, bounces, unsubscribes, etc. So what I would go in is do this drop down here, do a quick send, choose my email template. So what it would be is, all right, you basically download this ebook. Do you have any questions, whatever it might be. So I choose that email template, who it's going to come from the record owner. So it would be a one-off send to that individual person. Then the next day I would check to see if they'd opened the email, clicked on it, whatever it might be. So what I would do is scroll through this SDR view that we have and see emails that were sent, score, deliveries, opens, clicks, etc. for each individual email. From that, I try to give them a call. So we had a series of 5 calls set up. So now we're using ClickDimensions functionality as well as traditional sales tactics. So picking up the phone, giving a call, see if we get them into a conversation. Now that being said, what I would do is I would drive that conversation based upon what they clicked on. So if I open up this email here, we can say this is the email they received. You can see that there's clicks within this email activity. So before I give them a call, we'd see the score they received, the opens, the clicks, and now we go to an individual activity of which they opened it. So I'll click on that link. It'll take me right to the web page they're on. So I would go and drive that conversation that way. But it's giving me that, quote unquote, big brother look of what they're looking at. Let's drive the conversation that way, hit those weak points of what they're looking for and how we can address those. So really giving that full understanding of it. Then lastly, what we would do, and I'm going to touch base on this more with that Q4 update that I was talking about with the campaign builder, is if I couldn't get them on the phone, what we would do let's go. We're going to backtrack back into my contact record, is put them onto a nurture. And so this nurture would be automated email series that would go out. I'm going to show you the full builder of this nurture as well. However, what we do is we choose one of these nurtures, which is a series of emails that go out at different intervals automatically, and keep in touch with them until they're ready for a full conversation. At that point, when they're ready to respond to one of these nurtures to me and say, hey, really apologize, I've been quite busy, etc. So you can kind of see how we've gone through that full cycle of we brought the leads in, sent them that email, nurtured them out, via phone calls. If that didn't work, nurture with emails, and then really get that full opportunity of seeing where they're coming through and how effective it is before we kind of make that final opportunity close there. So from that, what I'm going to do is, again, transition into that good funnel versus bad funnel, how we can nurture those good funnels, etc. So if we go back into my current slides here, just kind of going over a good funnel and bad funnel here. Bad funnel, which I'm sure all of you are aware of, is it's definitely highly discouraged by ClickDimensions, and what they're usually created by is bought lists. Now, these bought lists, 9 out of 10 times, are not worth the money in the sense that vast majority of these people might not be interested. They're also most likely not qualified as the key person. So we're not really seeing a full return on the investment basically with that. So with a good funnel, and what we'll do is we'll talk about how to create a good funnel. Is the best kind of funnel is one that's created organically. So some way where you can drive these prospects to the website, via might be Google AdWords, whatever it might be, and track those people into the website, capture those leads, and again nurturing them with emails, phone calls, white papers, informational pieces, drive them through the process, track them through the process, and again close that deal with maybe a phone call, whatever it might be, and you really see a full sales process go through. So what I'd like to do, kind of discuss that a little further, and what we'll do is walk through this again, bringing in those leads, identifying those visitors, sending the proper nurturing pieces out there. So the best way to kind of go through all this, and what we'll do is I'm just going to quickly go through each one of these slides here, and then we'll go into the production environment, is we're going to talk about our form builders, those forms that you can embed onto the website. When you've driven people to the website, when they fill this out, it's actually going to create a lead into your system. So that's a way to capture in those new leads, which you can then qualify into contacts and again nurture further. One thing to point out is when those people come into the website, they're an anonymous visitor. To identify them, we're going to need to use those forms. So you can make certain fields required, company name, first name, last name, whatever it might be. And when they come into the website, it's going to cookie their IP address. So when we take that cookied IP address, it's an anonymous visitor. When they fill out the form, we're going to say, okay, this IP address is currently is connected with this lead. Let's update this information and say, okay, IP address with John Doe here that just filled out this form, creates the lead, qualified into a contact, and then it'll just track everything that John Doe does every single time he comes back into the website. Beyond that, and once we've identified them with the forms, we can do some web tracking with some data modeling. So if that first person comes in, fills out the form, just for this example, Kano Software. So Kano Software is the account. We've got John Gordon as our lead. So that's the first person that came in for that company. Then from that, as they've been tracked, it will come in, it will track everything John Gordon does. However, when that next person comes in, it's going to say, again, maybe John Doe. John Doe is going to come in, say, Kano Software is my company name. It's going to put them and associate the same account. So you're going to see, okay, here's the list of people. And if you wanted to put, relationship type or industry type, maybe CEO, CMO, whatever it might be, as a required field within the form, you can say, these are my people, these are their titles, and these are my qualified people I really need to target as my decision makers. And then lastly, what we can do, and what I'm going to do is show you this within our environment as well, is also that lead scoring. So within that lead scoring, we can assign points, maybe 10 points for every link they click on, 25 points for every form they download. And as they accrue the score from those marketing efforts, that sales team is going to be able to see it. So, from my perspective, when I was a sales development rep, anybody over 75, I considered a fairly hot lead. And so what I do is I go into those emails, those forms, et cetera, really take a look at what they're doing and say, okay, let's give them a call based upon this information. They're a hot lead, let's generate the call and drive the call that way based upon what they're looking at. And so what we'll do now is I'm actually going to hop back into that production environment. We're going to go just briefly talk about those emails and email sends, and I'll go through those form builders as well, and actually download my own ebook so you can see that information come back in real time. So within ClickDimensions, there are 4 kinds of email builders. So we do have the block editor, so pre-made areas inside the template, copy and paste where you'd like to, or I should say upload where you'd like to. The freestyle, toggle between text and image and HTML. It's similar to a WYSIWYG. an HTML editor, write the HTML, generate the email template, and then also a drag and drop editor. The drag and drop editor is the most popular amongst current customers. It's very easy to use. Just drag text and image in where you'd like to. So once you've built out that email template, what we do is do an email send. And so this is where it kind of starts merging that CRM functionality with the ClickDimensions functionality as well. So because we're in CRM, we can access that CRM data, including those contacts. And what you can do is you can create those advanced finds of marketing lists for certain people. So say you wanted to target CMOs of companies, and what you do is create an advanced find, pull that into the job title of CMO, and it'll create that marketing list for you. You can then send out that email to just those people. But because you're inside of CRM, you can actually pull that information rather than having to export files out to import to another solution. So what we do is we go through this information. I'm going to open up the editor here real quick just so you can get a sense of the drag and drop. It's very easy to use. And so if we delete an image here, you can drag an image in, select an image, pull from there whatever an image you might have uploaded into your image manager, etc. So it's really 2 clicks, hit OK, and the image is right in there. So it really is very easy to use. We also have dynamic content, so you can pull from different entities within CRM and pull the custom fields out of there. So first name, maybe company name, whatever it might be. So it's really straightforward and easy to use there. So once we've sent this out, obviously we want those statistics back. And what I kind of alluded to within the contact record is that you can see all this information. So if we go into my contact record here briefly, what we'll do is take a look, and as we had taken a look a few minutes ago, is that the email sent out, you can see deliveries, opens, clicks, etc. Now I want to show you the information that comes back in real time for you, so those forms that are being filled out, etc. So what I'm going to do is actually unsubscribe myself from newsletter and special events. And the reason being is if we go into ClickDimensions, on every one of our forms we effort to opt in for newsletters and special events. So you can actually create your own custom opt-in pieces. So if we go to ebooks here, what we'll do is we'll download one real quick. And this is this form here on the right that I'm going to download our ebook is. This is a form that we built within ClickDimensions. And so it'll sync back in real time all this information. There we go. And what you can see is that we're going to opt in for the newsletters and the special events. So if I go there, get ebook, what we'll do first, we're going to take a look at our posted forms. So if we go into our posted forms real quick, what you'll be able to see, I apologize, I clicked the wrong button there. Go to posted forms. What you'll be able to see is I just download that form and update that information in real time. So recognize my IP address, recognize my email address, and okay, Dan's already inside of the system. Let's just update his contact record. Whereas people like Neil here, Neil's not inside of your CRM or our CRM currently. Created a lead for Neil, which you can then qualify into a contact. Best practice. We do recommend creating that lead because occasionally you do get people putting in, Mickey Mouse or just random letters where it's not a qualified lead, and obviously we want the most qualified leads in there for your sales team. So if we go back into my contact record, what we can do is we can see, apologize, that has updated my newsletter and special events here, and my score is a little bit higher as well. So again, it's all syncing back in real time, and that sales team and the market team are all going to be able to see this information within the contact record, the account level, to really, again, nurture that piece all the way through, see what's being effective, what isn't. So from that, what we're going to do is we're going to hop back into this PowerPoint here, and just for a second, I apologize, we'll hop back in here and just take a look at this one piece real quick. So this is our new campaign builder. So this is what's going to be replacing that nurture marketing. And what we're going to be able to do with this is do email interactions. It's going to be a lot more dynamic in the sense that you can actually pick different links within that campaign builder to trigger different series of emails. And I've actually got a test environment opened up for this right now. And so what we can do, and I'm going to show first, is this email interaction. So if you open up this email interaction, I'm just going to choose a email send that goes with it. There we go. So we're just going to choose a random one here. So I'll go with this one, add. And we'll put email clicked. From that email click, you can actually choose different links within the email. So if you want to send a series to link A, you can do that as opposed to link B, whatever it might be. And you can choose these out, and then depending on which one they click on, send a different series. So from that, what we can do is say, okay, series 1, series 2, and drag it out. And again, as you can see, it's going to be a lot more dynamic in the sense that the email specifications will be dependent, or the series actions will be dependent on certain criteria within the email. So you can also, with a form submission, so again, maybe you have job title as a required field. Depending on what they fill in that area, they'll send different series, again, CMO, CEO, CTO, whatever it might be, and drive the content that way. So you can really customize what's going to be sent out to each individual person. So the last feature I want to talk about just briefly here, and this again will drive those good leads in, good funnel rather than the poor funnel, is our import tool. So if you have contacts at the outside of Excel, on an Excel spreadsheet, whatever it might be, maybe you went to an event, where you've been able to pull those leads in. Those are considered good leads. They came to your booth, or you talked to those people at the event, whatever it might be. You want to bring them into CRM. We've added a ClickDimensions import tool. So this import tool, what it will do is, if you go into your marketing, you go to your marketing lists. We have the ClickDimensions import. We've created an Excel spreadsheet that you can format with those contacts. So if you click ClickDimensions import here, what it will do is give you the download Excel spreadsheet. You format that Excel spreadsheet with those contacts, and you can put the first name, last name, company name, address, all their information, job title, as well as who's going to own it within CRM, maybe a particular salesperson. You take that file, you upload it in, and it will create a marketing list. You'll update current contacts, create new contacts for you, file it where it needs to be, as well as track those people that come into the website after the fact. So we've really given those tools. You can take all these tools, and instead of doing a bought list of a bad funnel, you can organically create your own good funnel through these series of functionalities. So from that, I just want to wrap up here real quick. I don't want to run too much over time. I want to give some time here for questions. Just want to touch real base on our ClickDimensions Academy. If you were to decide to move forward with ClickDimensions, we do offer training. We do webinars twice a day, Monday through Friday, and go point by point through each feature. It really is a great training tool. This is how I learned ClickDimensions. All of our partners go through the ClickDimensions Academy, so it's highly encouraged. And we just want to give you an idea that we will provide the tools to help you learn the solution as well. And just kind of next steps here, as Scott mentioned, have a phone call with them. You can discuss how your CRM can be compatible with ClickDimensions, how they can work it together to, again, give you that full and complete lead coming into opportunity closing and allowing the sales team and marketing to communicate. If you would like to schedule a full follow-up demo with me on just ClickDimensions functionality, more than happy to do so. Again, you can contact Scott or I are about it. And just discussing a process moving forward, I wanted to give you an offer here. In December, we're going to be offering one of these three options, either a 5% discount, a 5% additional discount on the prepay, so that'd be 15% in total, 15% more emails on whatever the subscription you choose for, as well as you can do start the subscription in January. Start the subscription in December, but pay in January. So we do have a few options here that are going to be piggybacked for the webinar that we did here. So again, you can talk to Scott about this or address with me whatever you'd like to do. At this point, that was kind of just a nice marketing overview of how ClickDimensions can help connect that sales team with the marketing team. If you do have any questions, I'm more than happy to stay on the webinar for a little bit here and address any of those. I'm sure Scott would be as well.
That was great, Dan. Thank you for the fairly detailed and a good overview, but fairly detailed skip through on ClickDimensions as well. I've got quite a few questions. I'm gonna pick the best ones. So obviously you've got 2,000 customers worldwide now. You're the fastest growing marketing automation platform, and that will. You're obviously built off the Microsoft Dynamics environment. But so when you take, you can integrate any MA platform with any CRM system in principle, and we've done it for the ones that we run, and it's not as simple as it's made out to be, and there can be some quite technical bits, and it can often quite go astray, mainly driven by the problems within the CRM and duplications in the CRM, because the unique contact record in the CRM is the number that's created when that record was created. So it's fairly easy to end up with 5 Dan Gads, because each one's got a unique contact record, but they've all got the same email. Whereas the MA platforms, the unique field is the email. So when you come to the sync, the MA platform sees with Dan Gad and all the scoring and everything like that, he sees and his assigned users. He comes to CRM and it meets 5 other Dan Gads and it doesn't know which one to take. So it's not as technically straightforward as everybody talks about, and it can cause a ton of rework. But just from even that aside, from a security standpoint, why is being native inside the CRM a better option than using a connection?
Sure. So, like I was saying, ClickDimensions, we're actually the only marketing automation 100% inside of CRM. And from a security standpoint, that's better only because with a connector, yes, the communications between the marketing automation platform and CRM will work. However, you are toggling between 2 different platforms. So from a security standpoint, you want to leave as much data as possible inside of CRM. If you're using a connector, what you're going to have to do is take that data, put it into another platform, which is hosted by company A, and then they're going to send out those emails for you, bring back the information. That information, again, is hosted on that platform, which they will then give you a copy of within the CRM. So from a security standpoint, with ClickDimensions, all the data is staying inside of your CRM, where you temporarily sending it out just to bring back the information. And again, we don't have a data storage inside of Azure, so we're never holding any data. All the data is stored in your CRM, whereas with the connector, that other platform is still going to hold that data. So again, from a security standpoint, as much data as possible stays in your CRM, which is always a benefit.
Second question that's come up is that, so when you send an email, there's often issues with if that email gets forwarded internally and those opens and things are get classified against, if we send an email to you, you forward it internally, that all of the opens can be recorded against you. But is there a way to see a report of every person that's clicked, on a single link in that email?
Sure. So we actually have it. I'm gonna go into this real quick for you. I'm actually gonna open up one of my email sends, and so we can take a look. We're gonna go into one of our newsletters, and so within ClickDimensions, we actually have something called a Click Report. And so if we go into, say, our September newsletter here, we'll go and hit this drop down, and we'll have this Run Report. And so every person that's received the email, whatever it might be, when they click on this particular link in the email, it's going to send them to the website. So again, bringing in new leads, whatever it might be, and tracking those people. So this click report is going to show us every link within the email. So it shows unique clicks and total clicks. And if we pick on one here, what it will do is it shows each individual contact that clicked that particular link in the email. So this is just a report of each individual link. However, you can also run this on our email events functionality. So if we go into email events, it's going to show us each individual person that received the email, as well as what they did with this, whether they opened, clicked, delivered, etc. So really can break down to that individual level as well.
Brilliant. And if you've got often a final question is, if you've often if you've got forms already on your site, do you, when you deploy ClickDimensions, do you need to rebuild them within ClickDimensions, or is there a way you can use the forms that are already created?
Sure. So with ClickDimensions, our goal is to be as compatible as possible. We can run side by side with a variety of tools. However, if somebody goes and had created forms for you, obviously forms can be created by third parties and be costly, and you don't want to get rid of those. We do offer something called form capture, programmatic form capture. And what you can do with that is you can actually put a tracking from ClickDimensions onto those forms. So we'll be able to track the information that's submitted from those forms that you already have. We don't support the form. However, we do support the connection to bring in the information.
Brilliant. Well, that's all the best of the questions that we've got. Anything from your side before we wrap up?
I was just kind of curious, from a CRM and ClickDimensions standpoint, do you think that just kind of being able to use those workflows of CRM and triggering certain functionality to kind of get more of an overall view of those emails that are going out, do you think being able to use those CRM triggers will be a little more compatible than just having the connector and communicating the information, and rather than kind of doing it that way?
Yeah, I think one of the really powerful things about this proposition is that both teams are using the same interface and they're using the same solution rather than two completely different solutions. So it helps to break down the silos. So I think it's very relevant for anybody who's running a CRM that they're not particularly happy with, and they know that they're going to move, and so you sort your CRM situation out first, but you do know that marketing automation is something that you'd like to consider in the future. So you need to think about, okay, what platform would integrate with this or integrate with that. So that is a definite. So if you're already running Microsoft Dynamics, then there's one of the definite candidates for consideration would be looking at ClickDimensions because of its integration. But if you're thinking of moving CRM, then ClickDimensions is also very, very relevant if you like Dynamics. So, but breaking down the silos between sales and marketing into having them in one team that's running a single instance at the same interface and everything's in the same place. It will, once you learn to run the powerful functionality and navigate it, etc., and work with the system, then that will give you a massive head start.
Awesome. I think that's kind of it